gentlemen, this is Eastwood for Life fan, and this video is a video of my pickups for the month of March. And in March I picked up 18 titles, and I picked up some spaghetti westerns, some American westerns, some spy movies, Euro crime movie, and some martial art movie editions. And the first one I'm going to show off is my personal favourite, and to me anyway, it's the greatest film that I think that's ever been made. And many people have seen this movie. Classic western, The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, directed by Sergio Leone, Clint Eastwood, Lee Van Cleef and Eli Wallach. And what more can you say about this great western? And in the month of February I picked up these French digibooks, and in February I picked up a fistful of dollars, and for a few dollars more, between 15 and 20 euros. But I hadn't picked up The Good, Bad and the Ugly because that one was pricing at 25 euros. But in March I did see a seller drop this down to 15 euros sealed, and had to pick this one up. And these French digibooks has an English audio and DVD and Blu-ray. So I'm glad I picked the last one in the French digibook series of these movies. And I do know in the summer that Kino are actually releasing a 4K version of The Good, the Bad and the Ugly. And Kino Lorbe is an American company that normally puts out westerns and some spaghetti westerns and a lot of the movies in the 60s and 70s. So I'm hoping they really give it the full treatment and give it a fantastic edition, probably similar to like the Grindhouse releasing of The Big Gun Down would be great. But Good, Bad and Ugly, my personal favourite all-time movie, and glad I picked this one up. On to some more spaghetti westerns I picked up, and I'd like to say a big shout out to a well-known YouTuber that within the YouTube community a lot of people would know him, and he goes by the name of Shagrat65, and we all know him as Kyle. And I've been messaging Kyle for a little bit, and he tipped me off about this great deal that's on Amazon Germany, and they were doing a deal, 3 titles for 18 euros in the Koch Media editions. So I picked up 3 titles, and the first one is a spaghetti western made in 1967 called Last of the Bad Men, starring George Hilton and Frank Wolf, who we all know played McBain in Once Upon a Time in the West. Haven't seen this spaghetti western, but another one to the collection, as I do have quite a few George Hilton westerns. So that was the first one in the Amazon Germany deal. And another one that I picked up is a 1971 spaghetti western, Shoot the Living, Pray for the Dead, starring German actor Klaus Kinski, who normally plays a villain in a lot of spaghetti westerns. And actually he was the hunchback in For a Few Dollars More. So that was the second one that I picked up in the deal. And the last one I picked up was a comedy spaghetti western starring Terence Hill. This one's called Man of the West. This came out in the early 70s, directed by Enzo Borraboni, who made the Trinity movies with Terence Hill. And I'm not a massive fan of the comedies in spaghetti western movies, but my personal Terence Hill favourite was My Name Is Nobody. So that was the three that I picked up from Amazon Germany. And big thank you to Shagrat65 Kyle, who we all know. Thanks for tipping me off. And guys, do check his channel out. One of the best UK movie collectors on YouTube. So many thanks, Kyle. And the last spaghetti western I picked up was a James Garner spaghetti western named A Man Called Sledge. And this stars Dennis Weaver in this movie as well. This was an upgrade, as I did have the DVD version of this, as this is a German release. But I picked this one up on eBay from a seller for a good price. And I always remember James Garner in the TV series The Rockford Files. And this one's not a bad spaghetti western, although it kind of sizzled out towards the end. But not a bad movie. A Man Called Sledge. And then on to some American westerns. And I've been collecting a few American westerns of late. And mainly quite a few John Wayne titles that I've been picking up. And this one is The Horse Soldiers, made in the 1950s, late 1950s, with William Holden, and directed by John Ford, who made many a fine westerns. I've not seen this one, and a lot of the John Wayne westerns in the 40s and 50s I've yet to see. It's more the later 60s and 70s westerns that I've seen of him, so looking forward to this one. Another John Wayne western to add to his collection is the Howard Hawks 1970 American western Rio Lobo. And Howard Hawks made quite a few westerns with John Wayne. The one I'll be viewing and not seen, and more into the modern westerns now. One that I seen as a teen quite a few times is Walter Hill's The Long Riders, and this came out in 1980. Fine western, and mainly starring the Carradine brothers, the Quaid brothers, and I think Stacy Keach is in this one as well. And I do like some of the movies, action movies that Walter Hill made. So that was another one I picked up to add to the American Western collection. And then I popped into my local CEX store, which I don't normally like to buy too many in that store, but if I see a bargain or two, then I'll pick one up. And I picked up Cowboys and Aliens, starring Daniel Craig and Harrison Ford. And this was a cheap buy for a couple of pounds. And this is kind of like sci-fi meets the Western times. So I don't know how I'm going to take to this movie, but it was a cheapie, so I thought I'd give it a go. It's Cowboys and Aliens. And then more modern is the remake 3:10 to Yuma, which came out in 2007, starring Russell Crowe and Christian Bale. And I've yet to see the original, which I have bought recently. So before I watch the remake, I would want to see the 3:10 to Yuma original first. And this was a cheap buy as well. And another American Western that came out a few years ago, starring Kurt Russell, is Bone Tomahawk. And this statement at the top is saying the best Western since Unforgiven. So I'll have to really see if that's true. So that's my spaghetti western and American western stack that I got for the month of March. So I'll just recap the westerns that I picked up. So that's Bone Tomahawk with Kurt Russell, the remake of 310 to Yuma, Cowboys and Aliens with Daniel Craig and Harrison Ford, Walter Hill's The Long Riders, some John Wayne American Westerns, Rio Lobo, another John Wayne, John Ford's The Horse Soldiers, spaghetti western with James Garner, A Man Called Sledge, and Terence Hill comedy spaghetti western, A Man of the West, Shoot the Living, Pray for the Dead, Last of the Bad Men, and my all-time favourite, The Good, Bad and the Ugly. So these are the spaghetti westerns and American westerns that I picked up in the month of March. Putting these away in a minute and revealing my next lot that I picked up. So back in a minute or so. Again, ladies and gentlemen, and this is part 2 of the other pickups for the month of March. And some spy movies now. And this one, which is In Like Flint, starring James Coburn, and also starring Lee J. Cobb. And this is the sequel to the original, which was Our Man Flint, which I'm trying to get. But this is a Twilight Time release, and for you collectors out there who know about Twilight Time, they're normally limited to 3,000 copies, and once they're gone, they go for crazy money. And the first movie, Our Man Flint, is going for crazy money. So this one I picked up for £25 from a seller from Canada. And this is kind of like the American take on the spy movies, you know, like James Bond. But probably these ones have got more humour and comedy in these 2 movies that they made. But hopefully I will pick up the first one for the right price. So that's In Like Flint, and I've seen this movie as a teen and thoroughly enjoyed it. Very fun spy spoof movie. And when we think of spy movies, we always think of this character, James Bond, 007. And this is the 2015 release of Daniel Craig's 4th outing of James Bond. And I have more or less near the whole collection of the Bond movies. Just 1 or 2 to pick up, and this one I've not yet seen. And I'm very, very sort of a big fan in the Bond franchise. I know a lot of us out there have our own sort of favourite Bond movie or favourite Bond, but whether Daniel Craig will sign up for another James Bond remains to be seen. So this is Spectre. And now I picked up a Eurocrime movie, just the one. And this is Syndicate Sadists, starring Thomas Millian, who sadly passed away last week. And Thomas Millian is a legend in spaghetti western movies and Eurocrime movies. And this is a 88 Films release which has just come out. And actually, just of late, a few of the Thomas Millian Eurocrime movies are being released. And I do know that Shameless are putting out Almost Human, starring Thomas Millian, and that is one of my personal favourites. His performance in that movie was outstanding. So sad to hear of his passing. Thomas Millian, spaghetti western and Eurocrime legend. And then I picked up some martial art movies, and I'm really only a casual martial art fan. Chuck Norris, Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan. But these Bruce Lee releases that I picked up, and these movies were released by a company called Medium Rare, which I sort of found on Amazon. And they released The Big Boss, Fist of Fury, Game of Death and The Way of the Dragon. But I never knew about these special editions, because these editions that Medium Rare are putting out contains DVD and Blu-ray cuts of the movies, stacks of features, a 20-page booklet, and double-sided cover where you can choose which cover you prefer. But this is The Big Boss, great Bruce Lee movie, and this one's Fist of Fury, or some people know this one as Chinese Connection. Another fine Bruce Lee movie. And this one, Way of the Dragon, which I've opened up, and I'll just show you how it looks. Got a DVD and Blu-ray, and you've got like another cover inside. This is like the 20-page booklet, and actually these covers were the covers that they were released as VHS editions. So probably I'm gonna turn these ones inside out. So that's Way of the Dragon, and also Game of Death, which was his last movie, which was a bit kind of botched because Bruce Lee passed away during filming, and even though he'd done the action scenes, which were probably one of his best, they still put this release out. But personally, out of all the Bruce Lee movies, Enter the Dragon would probably be my personal favourite, but that one is not included in the Medium Rare releases, most probably because that was the Warner Brothers production. So Bruce Lee fans, do look out for these, because I bought these on Amazon for a very good price, between £6.50 and £8. So these are great editions, and I don't know of any other better editions. So that's a recap of the movies in the second lot. That's Game of Death, Way of the Dragon, Fist of Fury, The Big Boss, Syndicate Sadists, Spectre, and In Like Flint with James Coburn, and the last mentioned of Thomas Millian, rest in peace, spaghetti western and Eurocrime legend. And the next video that I will be putting out is my next trade package deal with Toddy Walnuts, and I'll be doing that in a day or two, so stay tuned for that. Any comments about the editions that I've picked up, please comment or sub, and I'll be glad to get back to you guys. So till the next video, take care.